Hi, and welcome to How to Get Started with AI in Care. I'm David. I'm founder of Frank Care Marketing. I spent about 25 years in marketing with agencies like Saatchi and Saatchi and consultancies like Deloitte. And now I help care organizations use AI safely and effectively. Uh, if you already know me, you will notice that I'm doing a more animated voice than normal because I am terrible for monotone, and I hope if I slip into monotone, do mention it. But today I'm going to show you how AI can save your team hours every week, how it can help you create better marketing and make operations smoother, and make you a better leader, save you time without replacing that human touch that makes care special. We're going to go through some real ways AI is saving care teams hours every week. We're going to go through some practical use cases that you can try this week. And we're going to show you how to keep it safe and compliant. And really, I would always say, like, if you can leave with just 2 or 3 key takeaways, practical things that you're actually going to do, that is a huge win. Now, a lot of the kind of tips and ideas that I'm going to share, they are available in a free download. Let's give you the link here. Um, and so, yeah, you'll be able to kind of refer back to it all. If you sign up for this webinar anyway, then we'll have sent it to you anyway. But also, if you're watching this on YouTube, for example, we'll make sure the link is in the description. But really, yeah, free resource, 5 ways to get started with AI and social care. Okay. Anyway, let's dive straight in, and I'm going to start unusually with some good news. 83% of care staff already using AI say that it's made a positive difference. Nearly half say it's reduced their workload. A third say they are more productive. There's a really big trial that's just come out. The results have just come out with 30,000 NHS workers, and it was them using an AI called Microsoft 365 Copilot, and on average, they're saving 43 minutes a day. And I know for a fact, like that is like not like using it at its best, but that is just giving everyone like Copilot and saying, "Oh, off you go." And that's how much time they're saving on average just from that little bit of help. So as you know, like there's a lot that it can do. And it's not about replacing people. It's about giving your talented team back their time so they can focus on what they do best, which is caring and connecting and making decisions that matter. If you could write a month's worth of social content in 30 minutes instead of a full day, or you could analyze 200 Google reviews and spot trends in 10 minutes that would have taken hours manually. Or what if you could turn a 40-page safeguarding policy into a 12-minute podcast that your team would actually listen to? So this is what's happening right now in care organizations across the UK, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, I wonder where you are, not where you are physically, but where you are on your sort of AI journey. A lot of care organizations I speak to, they're in those first kind of initial stages, or maybe it's somewhere around the middle there. A few members are using it. And that's okay. I would say, look, we're still very early on. I always kind of say we're going to look back on this time in terms of AI, and we're going to say, this is like the sort of dial-up internet era. Now, I'm not like a huge AI zealot. Like, I totally understand the concerns around AI in terms of safety, ecologically, all these things. But I'm just saying that AI is here. It's here to stay. That's not going to change. And so it's about, well, how can we use it? And I would just say, look, um, you are not behind. Uh, People are just getting going with this. And so just by being part of this webinar, you are already kind of probably ahead of most people. And I would just say, I just want to encourage you really to have a go with it. That's kind of my whole purpose right now, is to just say to folks, start playing around with stuff, because the more you use it, it's like anything, the more you use it, the more you understand it can do and what it can't do. If you're already like, wow, this is like how to get started, I've already started. Well, I'm going to be giving you some more advanced tips as we go, which So whatever stage you're at, I'm hopeful that you're going to get something out of this. A quick question though. Hands up if someone in your care organization has used ChatGPT for work this week. All right, now keep your hand up if you know exactly what they put into it. Right, so staff are already using it. They're finding ways to be more efficient. They're using AI to like maybe draft emails or tidy up some notes or brainstorm ideas because they're problem solvers. That's why they're in your team. That's why they're brilliant. And that initiative is exactly what you want. But we need to just channel it safely, don't we? And that sort of brings me on to, before we get too much into the exciting stuff, I'm going to give you like a very quick safety brief. So this will take just a couple of minutes. If you imagine, it's a bit like that, the safety demo on a plane. It's kind of essential. You just gotta get through this bit, and then you can watch, really trashy rom-com or whatever it is that you like to do on the plane. So this is a really helpful rule of thumb. Think of AI like a junior colleague. So it's helpful, it's crazy fast, like so quick, but it's not someone that you would trust to run the entire place unsupervised. You wouldn't give a junior team member access to sensitive files, would you, without training them? Or you wouldn't let them on day one start sending emails to clients without reviewing them first. And so the same rules apply to AI. And I would say there's just really three rules that will cover kind of 90% of safety. So rule number one, the big one, like never share personal data. So if you're writing about someone, you could just anonymize it, say like a resident with dementia. Don't say like Mrs. Jones in room 11 at X care home. I would just say, like, ask yourself, like, whenever you're putting something into an LLM, when I say an LLM, I mean an AI, which is something like ChatGPT or Claude, or probably most commonly would be Microsoft Copilot or Google Gemini. Those are the big ones. So just ask yourself, whenever you're putting something into it, just say, well, would I be okay if this got leaked? And you hopefully have got your sort of settings set up so that it's not being trained on your data, but it's just always better to err on the side of caution. And there's generally no need to be putting that information in there. So, and then lastly, always check the output. We'll go into that a little bit more in a moment. Now, you're probably going to want a proper AI policy and training and oversight as you scale this up, but this is how to get started. And so we'll come back to that a little bit later as well in terms of giving you some helpful steps. But for right now, it's these three rules will keep you safe while you experiment. Okay, that's the kind of safety briefing done. Let's get stuck into the exciting stuff. I'm going to show you I'm just going to show you a few ways that you can use AI, basically. Great. So I've got just the sort of web version of ChatGPT up here. I'm just going to show you first off, like how I would actually use AI for like a really common task in care marketing. So let's say we need to write a Facebook post or a Facebook ad to recruit care assistants. And we're struggling to kind of get applicants right now. We want something that's going to stand out. I'm just so nervous that I didn't have the right. No, I do. We're fine. We're fine. Okay, so write a 50-word Facebook ad recruiting care assistants. The role is in Surrey, starting salary $12.50 an hour, and we offer flexible shifts. So yeah, I'm saying make it warm and authentic. So I'm giving it some instructions here. Okay, and you can see straight away, okay, that's given me something pretty good, hasn't it? Join our caring team in Surrey. We're looking for compassionate care assistants. Apply today. Help brighten someone's day. That's pretty good, I would say. Like it's a bit generic, and so let's improve it using what I call the sandwich method, which I got from Carl Roberts at Boutique Care Homes. There's lots of like frameworks and helpful ways of thinking about AI. I like this idea of the sandwich, which is like you think about something at the first layer about what you're going to put in, and then AI gives you the bit in the middle, and then you think about what you're going to, you examine what it's given you, and so you sandwich the AI. Um, okay, so that's pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can get something a bit better. So I'm gonna say, well, look, could you make it a bit more emotionally compelling? And could you kind of lead with impact and not pain? Could you use a question to hook attention? So I'm sort of sandwiching there. I'm giving it something back, and I'm asking it to give me a little bit more. Okay, that's much better, isn't it? Now it's leading with, oh, look at that. That's a lovely sort of opening hook. Do you believe small acts of kindness can change a life? I love that. Okay, so it's already given me something better just by kind of not settling for the first thing it spits out, but kind of working with it. Um, I mean, another good tip, another sort of slightly more advanced or pro tip, I suppose. What you could say to it, like, well, what am I missing? What could I do better with this? What objection might candidates have? And it will then, okay, it's going to give me some more in-depth feedback now about, oh, had you thought about this and had you thought about that? And so I might continue to work and back and forth with the AI just to kind of it's like where in Surrey? Like, is driving required? Gives you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Like, so it's just going to give you some helpful feedback, and like I say, it's like a partner. You should be working with it um in ways that just you don't just settle for the first thing, but you work back and forth. All right, I think that's pretty good. What we're going to do now, we're going to go through some other use cases. We're going to focus on, we're going to do like about 4 marketing ones. We're going to look at like, okay, let's look at content creation at scale. We're going to look at review analysis, campaign planning, and then we'll do some operation ones as well. I am going to kind of skim through these, but like I said, um, you can use the resource to kind of get some more detail. Now, the first thing I want to point you to is this idea of a brand voice GPT. You can actually see what I've got one here, Frank Content Writer. So I use this every day to, well, I would if it worked. There we go. Every day to write like LinkedIn content, other content, and I will just bang in some thoughts, some first ideas, and it will, because it's been trained on my tone of voice, it will give me back something that is like 90% there in terms of, okay, just copy that, get it onto LinkedIn or wherever, and it's taken my rough thoughts and it's done a lot with it. So we've created one here for an imaginary care home, Sunnyside Care Home. This GPT creates social media posts, blogs, and brochures for Sunnyside Care Home. It should always reflect our tone of voice, ethos, and values. So this is called a custom version of ChatGPT, a custom GPT, and it just means you have given ChatGPT a sort of little specific set of instructions, your own little version, um, and in this case to create content. And this is going to use our tone of voice, our language. It's even we're gonna tell it to use like our specific like preferred phrases or emojis. Like perhaps for Sunnyside Care Home, we always like to have the little sunshine emoji, whatever it is. So once this is set up, it means that anyone on your team can use it to write like newsletters or social posts or press releases, and it'll all sound authentically like you. Now, we're not going to actually go through the setup. Um, Setup could be as quick as like, I would say like maybe an hour or two, probably. If you already have as a care organization, like really clear tone of voice, and you have all these things, and you have lots of good examples of like good, like social content or press releases, whatever it is, then by giving it all that context, the more context that you can give AI, the better the output. And so, um, if you've got that already, it would be quite a quick job. If you haven't, then it'd take a bit longer. Now, like I say, we're not going to go into it right now, but I am going to give you some, for starters, here is a how-to video that I already made. If you go to the AI and social care channel in YouTube, how to build a brand voice GPT for your care organization. That's about a 10-minute video. It'll just walk you through it. Or like we can actually build it for you if you go to frankcaremarketing.com, go services, and then AI tools. we can do it for you. It costs £395 as of the time of this recording, which is ridiculously cheap, but so it'll probably go up, but you could get that for your organization. But I'm just going to like demonstrate what it could do. Like this, this is just a demo account, so it's not the best. But anyway, let's imagine that, you're a care home manager. You haven't got time to be writing content. And so you take a picture of dear Jenny, because we're being careful with anonymizing data. We've just called her J. And we said, oh, look, create a Facebook post. We've taken a photo of this resident with a birthday cake. We sang happy birthday. She loves singing and sang along. So we give it a little bit of something to work with. It says, Jay turned 94 today, and what a joy it was to celebrate with her. We gathered round, sang happy birthday, and with her singing right along, of course, she loves a good tune, and enjoyed a slice of cake together. Simple moments like these are what make Sunnyside feel like home. Happy birthday, Jay. You're an absolute star. And so you would take that and you probably, if you've got permission, you would use her name, or yeah, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Because otherwise you wouldn't be posting it. But I just think as a rule of thumb, don't put, even if you are going to make it public available later, still let's just have it, that building that muscle memory in our mind of avoiding putting names into a public LLM. But you're too busy as a care home manager or a home carer or whatever to be spending time really thinking about social posts. But it gives you that right away. It's in your tone of voice. It means that a marketing department can give it to their team and say, like, just use this if you've got a team account with ChatGPT. And it honestly, it is an absolute. I hate the phrase game changer, but it is an absolute game changer. All right. I hope I haven't gone on too long about that, but that is a really good one. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to use AI to find gold. What's that, Dave? You say, well, every care organization has gold, by which I mean your Google reviews, your homecare.co.uk reviews, or Tumblr, or whichever one you use. And so, and often those reviews, there's gold in there, but who's got time to like really go through and figure out which is the good stuff? So, this is a really great care home near us. What I would do is I'm just going to take, this is publicly available, so it's not a problem. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste all that. Oh, that'll do. I think I've copied it, have I? Oh, no, I haven't. Okay. Come on. I'm actually, remember whenever you do demos, like this stuff never works, especially if you're slowing content. But anyway, that's enough for now. We'll just get a few and we'll post those in, and we'll say to it, here are a bunch of reviews. What are like, it's going to ask it. Come on. Here are reviews. What are the top 3 things that people love about a care home? Which areas come up as concerns, even subtly? Write a short report that I can share with the leadership team, including direct quotes. And it's given me, oh, look at this, like, okay, exceptional staff and compassionate care, strong leadership, atmosphere, community and well-being. Now, I only posted a few. This care home had 80, and I think 60 odd of them were 5-star. So, but it's also given me some feedback on like areas to improve. Now, just imagine like how long it would take to go through 80 reviews like yourself. But here we can see, okay, immediately, okay, what are people really praising us for? What are some concerns that come up more than once? And it's giving us, we can use it to then extract great quotes for marketing. To we could turn some of these themes, like the amazing staff, like we could turn those into like internal, staff recognition messages. Could identify service improvements. So yeah, there's what AI is great at is like synthesizing like tons of data, so you can put in all this stuff and then ask it to draw out, okay, give me this, and it will draw it out for you. So that would have taken hours and hours. You could get it done in 10 minutes. So And there's like similar kind of use cases to that, which are super, super helpful. All right. Um, Another way you can use AI is brainstorming. So you might be a marketing team of one, or you might be a care leader of one. Say, for example, you've got a home care organization is just starting up. You don't have like a big team to be bouncing ideas off, but AI can be like a really great partner for you. So, um, let's say, for example, we want to um, run like a series of events for um, for Advent. It's that sort of time of year is coming up, isn't it? Uh, and we don't want to kind of start with a blank page. So we say to the AI, okay, look, help me plan a week of activities for the first week of Advent, include some, an intergenerational event, a sensory-based event for people living with dementia. And so it's immediately like given me quite a lot here. It's kind of saying, okay, so here's what you want to do. You want to like choose a quiet, comfortable space, like it's actually giving me some kind of tips here, like for residents living with dementia, keep instructions simple. Okay, and it's come up with a theme of hope for the week. Reflect that in the decor, allow flexibility. And so it's doing quite a lot of thinking for me. It's giving me an event for each day. And so what you might do is, you're not going to immediately take all seven of these events and do them exactly as it's saying, are you? But let's say you're brainstorming with a colleague or a couple of colleagues. This gives you like a starting point. You're like, okay, well, Thursday it's saying, carols and reminiscing, and you can start to, well, we could do that. If we can do that, maybe we could get like that the kids, the school choir, maybe they could come in. They wouldn't be able to come in Thursday, but they could do Wednesday. And so you're starting again, you're using AI as a partner, and it's really helping you to kind of think through some stuff. Um, and then, maybe you would vote on it as a team or whatever, but it's just what would have been a 2 hour meeting becomes like a really focused, like 20-minute session, and everyone leaves kind of feeling excited, not kind of overwhelmed, not exhausted. Okay. And then, so we've gone through, we've looked at using it for reviews, we've looked at creating content, we use it for brainstorming. Our last kind of marketing example, we're going to look at SEO, which is search engine optimization. So we're going to think about, yeah, creating content that is very specific. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to get it to write a 400-word blog post about how to choose a dementia care home in Dorking. I've chosen Dorking because, it's a slightly funny name, including tips families should look for and mention person-centered care approach, person-centered approaches. So, I mean, look at that. Like straight away, it's given us a pretty good blog post, or certainly a very good starting point. Now, as you said, this is how to get started with AI and social care. So this is not like super sophisticated, but you can use AI to write blog posts that are kind of optimized for searches like care home near me or like dementia care in Surrey. And then we could do like a next level as well. We could then get it to suggest internal links or like related topics, or we could get it to, okay, now draw out like some social media snippets that will point to it. And you can see, can't you, like straight away the ways that it can help. And you can create a month's worth of content in an afternoon. Then your team would just review it and publish it. So, one marketing manager told us like, I used to spend Fridays writing content. Now I spend Fridays on strategy. And that's the difference. It's like all that kind of busy work goes, and you can set your mind on the higher level stuff that takes more of your expertise. So, uh, I guess let me just give you like a slightly more, because that is like super basic, but you could say to it, okay, we could ask it to do something called meta prompting, which means like get AI to write the prompt for you and then put the prompt into it. So it sounds kind of funny, but yeah, I'm going to say to it, okay, now you please create a better prompt which focuses on best practice in SEO. including suggested title tags, method description, H1, H2 structure. So rather than saying, oh, just write me a post, you could give it this blog prompt. And look, it's giving us like a suggested title tag. It's giving us like the meta description. As you go through, because what you would do is you would then copy this and put it in again to perhaps a new chat, for example. And you can see here, for example, it's saying, staff training compassion, look for staff as well. You could say, well, at Sunnyside Care Home, our care manager is actually an expert in dementia and has this background. And so you could prompt it with more detail that's really relevant to you. But you're working with it, and you're kind of not taking that first thing. This is where, yeah, I won't go into it, but we don't want to create AI slop. We don't want to create bad content, but we want to work in slightly more sophisticated ways that help us do great work, great marketing work. Okay, so there's the end of our sort of marketing section. The second half, we've got now 3 use cases that are around operations. I really love this first one. I think you're going to like it. AI can simulate like real world scenarios, but in a private and safe space. So think about training for, actually, let me just get back to my slides because I have kind of abandoned my slides and they are, I went to the trouble. Well, actually, my colleague went to the trouble of creating these lovely slides. So these are the things we've gone through on marketing into operations. So imagine, you are like, think about training for like handling family complaints or responding to safeguarding concerns or supporting residents into stress. Now, your staff have to do those things, but it's obviously better if they can practice first. And so AI lets you do that, whether it's like using text, typing into it or using your voice. You can get like real-time feedback without any risk to, real people. And so that is great for onboarding, for leadership development, or just ongoing like refresher training. When you put in training, tends to be like, every like 3 months, 6 months, like it's quite far apart. Whereas using AI, people could just use it in their own time and do little and often and kind of work on the things that are particularly sort of pertinent for them. So, and on like role play with kind of colleagues and staff could practice as many example, and we're going to use AI to sort of simulate. We've got the daughter, a concerned daughter. So their mum has just gone into care, in our care home, and is struggling to settle. I'm going to be the manager, and I'm saying to AI, okay, let's role play this call. So she's saying, hi, Sarah, I'm calling about my mum, Margaret Taylor. She moved in last week and I just want to talk because I'm really worried. Every time I visit, she seems withdrawn. She says she doesn't like it there and that she's feeling lonely. It's just not like her. She's always been such a social person. Okay, so how am I going to respond to this? And I could type it in. I'm going to use my voice here. I'm not trained in care. You would do this much better than me, but let me have a go. Hi, Sarah. Look, I totally understand your concerns, and it is so difficult. Uh, I would just say that this first week, it is very early days, and it's certainly, we have this all the time. We experience this, and it really, I would say, just those. It takes for the first 2 weeks, really, with everyone to just even start to feel settled. Um, we're working very closely with Margaret, and we want to support both you and her. Are you coming in today? Right. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to go on too long. Like I said, I'm no good at this, and but I'm just giving you. I'm just going to get rid of that bit because that's a bit random what I just said at the end there. Okay, so I put in the okay, she's come back and said, I understand that, but she sounds so upset. She said she didn't want to come out of her room because she didn't know anyone. She didn't think the staff had time for her, So, okay, it's giving me this back. And I've got to think, okay, how am I going to respond to this? And it's quite challenging, isn't it? And what you could do is you can make it tougher for yourself. And so you could say to it, let's give it a go now. Now behave in a more unhappy way. Make the client upset, but not impossible to deal with. This is practice, not punishment. I'm sorry, but I'm really not happy right now. I know you're saying so. So, you know, so it's giving me like, okay, when I visited yesterday, she was crying. She said so it's actually testing me out quite a lot here. And I'm thinking about, okay, how am I going to respond with empathy and da. I just think this is so smart. And it's not like I've put in the world's best prompt here. It was like a 2 sentence prompt, but it's working with me and it's going to train me. And um, yeah, you can do it in more sophisticated ways than this, but I would say even at this very basic kind of example, it's working great. Um, and there's lots of different scenarios. You might we'll go into other ones, but it might be around job hunting or interviewing candidates, or you could give it all kinds of different scenarios. You might have a real life scenario and it doesn't go well, and you're like, what should I have done differently? And you could practice that specific one again, as long as you're not putting their specific details into the LLM. Okay. Uh, I hope you found that helpful. Let's go on to our next one where we're gonna now, yeah, it's around policies. And you know that um, a huge challenge for the sector is around like all the policies and the training that's required. Um, and so what you can do, you can upload a policy or an audit report or a trading manual, and you can ask AI to summarize the key points. So as I said before, like AI is great at like taking like tons of data and like doing stuff with it, and you can work with it. Um, and so you could say, rewrite this for me in plain English, or, something I quite often say, because I'm, you know, fairly simple kind of guys. I'm like, explain this to me like I'm a 12-year-old, and it will explain difficult concepts. Give me a metaphor for this that I can understand. Um, so that's great. And so it's very easy to be adding, just you can add photos and files. So you can add like a Word document or a PDF or that kind of stuff. And it's pretty good at reading it, like not stuff like PDF tables still struggles with and that kind of thing. But generally, if it's just text, it's fine. Um, and then to take it one step further, you could use Notebook LM by Google, and it would turn your document into a searchable knowledge base or even generate a podcast from it. So, yeah, Microsoft Copilot also has something. I think it's called Notebook as well. Um, but yeah, Notebook LM by Google is better. And if you can imagine, so you could upload like a 40-page safeguarding policy, uh, and you could then just ask specific questions. Okay, what does this policy say about how I handle this situation? And it'll give you answers just based on that document. Or like I say, it could turn it into a podcast, and not just a boring podcast, but it would summarize it in like a conversation between two people, and back and forth, and make it engaging content. And this is all about like different learning styles, isn't it? Like some of us are visual learners, some of us are auditory learners. And so um, if you're able to like understand your staff and know what works for them, it just means that they're engaging with the content in better ways. So it's just different learning styles, same important information. And it just means that you get much better compliance because people actually engage with it. Okay. All right. That was helpful. And then our last one, I know I didn't whiz through a little bit. Um, oh, yeah. So we kind of already did this a little bit where right at the start there, I kind of went through an ad and gave you some kind of tips for writing a good ad, but it can support really the recruitment process right from start to finish. If you think about, yeah, it's not just writing better job ads, that speak to purpose, not just pay, but you could then use it to draft responses to candidate inquiries, or you could use it to, simulate tough interview questions for your hiring managers. Or here's a good one, like you could use it to analyze exit interview data. So if you were to put in that interview data, as we said before, like you've got to anonymize it first, but it could help you like draw out, okay, what are the key reasons why people are leaving, or what do they say was lacking, or you can really draw stuff out that's super helpful. Recruitment, as we know, is like one of the big challenges in care, and AI isn't going to solve that alone, but it can take hours of admin off your plate and help you attract people who want to do the work, and help you retain really great staff. So um, you're ready now. So you've tried a few things, you've tried out some of these ideas, you're seeing results, your team is getting excited, you're ready to kind of make this official with proper policies now and training and oversight. So here are some tips on how to go about that. I would say like we use this simple framework called PTOV. So first off, policy. Like you've got to set clear rules, clear guardrails for people. Like help them know what is allowed and what's not and why. Um, this it's important that every care organization has an AI policy. And this is going to be, I always say like you have your policy and then you also have guidelines, something that just a one page that people can refer to just get quick guidance like straight away. But this is important because this is the first document that your people are going to see around AI. And so yeah, it's important that that has some thought, and we can help you with that. It's also important how you like just help people kind of understand, don't just tell them the rules, but show them how to get great results. Because it's not just about like the guardrails on the safety, but it's also about all the opportunities, like all the ways that this can make your work better. Like let's make the most of those. So um, show them the opportunities as well as the safety oversight. So don't make AI use, like make it visible basically so that you can track what's working and you can spot issues early. I always say like really encourage a culture of transparency around AI. If you haven't given people guidelines up until now, they will likely have been just using a private like ChatGPT on their phone. And so what you want to do is bring it out into the light. Otherwise, it's what's called shadow AI usage, where people are just using it in secret because they don't know, like they're worried they might get in trouble. So let's bring it out into the light. Let's have a sort of amnesty of all the ways that people are using it. Let's find out all the good in that, like because they'll be using it for great stuff, and then let's help everyone kind of learn from one another. Let's create a culture of sharing. All right, and then lastly, values. So, whatever policy you write, it's got to come out of your care philosophy. It should enhance human connection, not replace it. So if you get these four things right, you've got a foundation that CQC will respect. Some that we can help you. Most groups, they start with one of these three pathways, depending on where you are. So if you're just exploring, like I say, use the free resources. If you're part of this webinar, you will have sent them to you. It's got prompt templates, it's got a safety checklist, and some quick wins that you can try like today. Once you've done that and you've got going and you're ready to upskill your team, I'd say book a training session. It's practical, it's tailored to care. People will leave confident and they'll leave with ideas that they can use straight away. And then the other thing I would say is at some point fairly soon, you're going to want full control. Like you're going to want to know for sure that anything that people put into AI is safe. So talk to us about creating your own secure AI assistant. What I mean by that is basically a private version of ChatGPT that is in a secure like system.